An immaculate inning. 9-pitch, 3 strikeout. Rarely happens in baseball.
Welcome back, everybody, to the next episode of the Immaculate Inning. We've got some stuff to talk about, Shane.
No, I don't think so. This one's gonna be a boring one, guys.
Yeah, it'll be a quick episode.
Nothing in the baseball world.
Yeah.
It's it's not just the face of baseball. Just signed the biggest sports contract ever in history or anything. But yeah. So
pretty straightforward.
Should we just get started with this pretty lackluster episode?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start it. Yeah,
getting to the less interesting stuff before we get to the absolute bomb that was dropped on the sports world. This past week, kind of going through some of the smaller, and this will be kind of a general free agency, early free agency, early trade, I guess, off-season episode. And so kind of some of the smaller ones, I'm going to mention this to you because it pertains to both of our teams. But the Atlanta Braves signed Ronaldo Lopez to a 3-year, $30 million contract, which I think is a little steep, honestly. He has a lot of upside, but not going too deep into this, but what did you think of that move?
I mean, the first 2 years he's making not a lot of money, and then the last one he's getting paid a good bit. I don't know. I think we view him as a fringe starter, and then a guy who we're going to try to get to start, and then when it doesn't work out, we'll shift into the bullpen, and we'll be able to cover multiple innings out of the pen. I like it. I mean, I'm not, it maybe is a little expensive, but the going rate for pitchers right now, especially above average ones, is pretty hefty. So,
yeah, he's definitely got a lot of upsides. A guy that's going to hit triple digits a lot. So, obviously, the White Sox, we used him as a back end bullpen guy most of the time. But then a couple, so weird. I think these moves are so odd. The Cardinals signed Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn to 1-year deals. They're trying to get the 2015 All-Star. Like, it's just like so weird. These are old guys. Everybody's like the revamped St. Louis rotation with what, like 40-year-olds? Like, okay, cool. Anyway, the next one, the Arizona Diamondbacks trade Eugenio Suarez, or acquire Suarez from the Seattle Mariners for Seby Zavala, which I didn't even know he was off the White Sox, and reliever Carlos Vargas. So, kind of interesting trade.
Yeah, it was a good move for the D-backs. I mean, they get third base was their weakest position. They get a guy who can hit and play pretty good defense. So,
yeah, I like Moreno. What little we saw of him in the playoffs, I really had never heard of his name, that young kid. But I guess they kind of want more solidified now that they see themselves as like a legit contender, and they can. I agree with that. Kind of another interesting deal. Right-hander Kenta Maeda signs with the Detroit Tigers on a 2-year deal. I mean, I honestly don't think they're that far away from winning that division. Like, it's not that far-fetched an idea. Not that they're going to do anything, but
yeah, they've made a couple interesting moves this offseason. It seems like they're trying to contend a little bit.
Kenta Maeda was kind of sneakily really good last year when he was healthy too. We talked about that. I think we mentioned his name a couple times. Jason Hayward re-signs with the Los Angeles Dodgers, kind of probably still fit in that kind of role player role that he was in. And then talking about the revamped Cardinals rotation, this one is legit. The Cardinals landed Sonny Gray.
Yeah, that was big.
Who's second in Cy Young voting in the AL, obviously is a legit pitcher. So that one, along with Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn, will be at the head of the Cardinals rotation. So we'll see. I mean, they're trying to bounce back because obviously they had a terrible year last year, but still have a lot of talent on that team. The New York Mets signed Luis Severino. He went to the other New York team for $13 million. Which I know he had those good years, but holy crap, that's steep for a guy that was so bad. Is he worth more than Lance Lynn? Like, I guess he's younger, and more upside. But anyway,
Lance Lynn does more innings, so.
Yeah, I agree. He's more of a workhorse.
Well, as a Braves fan, I'm not complaining about that move.
The Reds add Nick Martinez on a 2-year, $26 million deal. He was actually really good last year.
Yep.
They need starting pitching. We've always talked about that, so they could get some out of him. And then this is our first trade that I think we might kind of sit down and talk about for a little bit. The Atlanta Braves acquired outfielder Jared Kelenic in exchange for Evan White and Jackson Kowar and Cole Phillips. Oh, excuse me.
We got Evan White.
Evan White. Yeah,
We got Evan
yes.
White and Marco Gonzalez, and we gave up Jackson Kowar and Cole Phillips.
Well, you guys got rid of Marco Gonzalez immediately to the Pirates, correct?
Yeah, we've also traded Evan White now as well. Yeah. So I mean, Cole Phillips had not pitched a professional inning yet. We drafted him in 21. It's righty out of Texas, some high school in Texas. Big fastball, big power pitcher guy, potentially touching triple digits, I think maybe, but had to have surgery on his arm, and so he has not pitched yet. And then Jackson Kowar, this is like his third team in like a month. So I don't know. I was a fan of this trade. Obviously, we had to take on Marco Gonzalez and Evan White's contracts, and we've been kind of shuffling around players the past couple weeks, trying to negate some of those dollars that we took on. Evan White's contract was especially bad. But I'm a fan of it. Kelenic has struggled after being a top prospect in New York. And, in Seattle, he was kind of looked at as like the guy, like it was supposed to be like, it was him before it was J-Rod, like in terms of like turning the Seattle franchise around. And I love our hitting coach. And then obviously Chipper Jones does some freelance hitting lessons there. I mean, he's at like almost every home Braves game watching BP and stuff. He's essentially a coach. So I think they'll get to work with him, and he may not be the star that we've seen, but he's a better defender than Eddie Rosario. Hit just as well as Eddie Rosario did, and I think some of that attention being taken off of him, being able to come down to Atlanta, just kind of like he slots in right now as our 9 hitter, which is kind of crazy for where he hit in Seattle and how people have kind of viewed him throughout his career so far. So if he can get things click, like this lineup is going to be very, very dangerous.
Yeah, and I actually saw a tweet that he's like, they don't even know if their intention is to make him the starter, because I heard that him and Vaughn Grissom are going to be competing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anthopoulos came out, and as soon as Ron Washington left, I figured this is what was going to happen, because I think Grissom's just struggled so much at defense at shortstop. He's a good second baseman, but just not an MLB shortstop. And so Ron, having Ron around, kind of being able to work with him, I think was the Braves were hoping he'd be able to turn around. And when Ron left, I figured that he would make the move to left field. So he's been playing, I believe, in the Puerto Rico, maybe in some winter league down there, playing some left field, and then going into spring training, him and Kelenic will be competing for the starting spot. Could potentially turn into like a platoon type thing where, Kelenic sees righties and Grissom sees lefty, them kind of being righty and lefty. They're both pretty athletic guys. I mean, Grissom can hit flat out. He's a really good hitter. And then Kelenic has shown upside being a hitter. Obviously, he was not the same player when he came back from his broken foot this year during the season. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I was a fan of it. I like it. I think it's, I think Braves fans wanted kind of a bigger signature move. Maybe they wanted Sonny Gray. Sounds like Sonny Gray didn't want to go anywhere but St. Louis. He kind of came out and said that that's where he wanted to go in free agency. So that's where he's at. Waino was recruiting him pretty hardly in free agency. So I'm a fan of it. I don't hate it. I think we really didn't give up too much. It's a low risk, high reward type situation.
Yeah, I mean, on both sides too. I think it was a money dump for Seattle. Like they needed to get rid of some, but also I feel like now that they've dumped this money, like they need to make a big, like Seattle wise, they need to make a big move.
I agree. Yeah,
if you're gonna dump this money and get rid of Kelenic, like he had his first like kind of progressing year this year, and so like I think it could have been affecting him. Like, oh, he was supposed to be the guy, and J-Rod's now the guy, and he's still in a smaller, like he's still expected in the Seattle world to be like a bigger contributor than he was. In the Braves world, they don't need him to be that. They don't need him to be that. So I think maybe he'll flourish in that, a little bit less pressure for him.
Yeah.
But on the Seattle side, you have this money, you freed up the space, you're close. Like they got a young talent. I mean, they could be. I mean, you got to make a big move, I think, unless I know that's not historically what they've done, but for fans to be satisfied with this, I think you have to make at least
They don't
some,
care about the fans. What was it that their GM said like towards the end of the season? Like they're trying to win like 57% of their games or something like that. Like he said something absurd like that. Like they're not. It sucked because baseball's a lot of fun when Seattle's good, especially like the baseball culture up there and like the fan base are really passionate. And it's they're a fun team. They have cool colors. It's always fun
Yeah.
to see them win. But yeah, their management right now has shown no inclinations. I mean, they could have brought in Shohei. Well, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, it was always going to be the Dodgers, but they
Hey,
really were never in that race. And
you just ruined it for everybody. Nobody knew what happened yet.
oh, sorry. Yeah, if some of you have been somehow wandering in the woods for the past 3 days, I did just spoil it for you. I apologize that so yeah, but Seattle, I agree with you. They need to make a move, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard them in the conversation for like Snell a little bit, but like
He
I don't
was
know.
at like a Seahawks game or something like that a week ago, and people were like, "He's coming to Seattle." But they don't need Snell is the thing. They don't need pitching. They have great pitching.
Yeah,
They needed a guy like Shohei, or Cody Bellinger maybe even would be a good fit. But I've heard some interesting things about Cody Bellinger, and we may talk about this more when he actually signs. But I mean, I've heard he's been asking for like north of 200 million, which is just kind of absurd.
I heard
He's hunting,
250 was the number, which is he
insane.
ain't. You are not
That's
getting 250.
He will be sitting at home on the couch if that's what he's looking for. He will not play on a team in the spring.
Yeah,
So
I think if he got 200, I'd be like, all right, that's a little surprising, but I think that's possibly doable. I would have
yeah.
slated him for like 175, 180, maybe.
Shoot, I wouldn't even go that high. I would say like even anything over 150 is you're risking it. I mean, all his peripherals were down, his hard hit, his exit velo, his barrel percentage, all that is down. He hit his MVP season, he hit 308 and hit what 42 homers. This year he hit 307 and only hit like 26 homers. Like he's not the same player that he was. So
Yeah, but he's pretty young for a free agent. That was the thing.
he is pretty young, and so that could help. And you could maybe hope that he's gonna regain some of that power, but I don't know. So, but we don't need to dwell on this too much. We've got other fish to fry. So
Yeah, I know. It was worth mentioning though. That's
yeah,
actually something that I think is important. But getting on to the next one, an interesting one. This one's interesting. Kind of, following through on their promise to get power our offensive minded lefty hitters. The Yankees went out and acquired Alex Verdugo, the Boston Red Sox, in exchange for three minor league right-handed pitchers, which this deal first came, oh, excuse me, no, this isn't the Padres deal. Anyway, sorry, I was mistaken. I thought Michael King was in this deal. He's actually in the Padres deal.
yeah.
So that's an interesting move. I don't have much to say about that. I mean, Verdugo is in a big market. He knows kind of how to handle it. I think the short porch will hopefully help him a little bit offensively. So what I will say with him, Judge, and Soto in the outfield, I know Judge is actually like uncharacteristically for his size good at defense, but that's gonna be one of the worst defensive outfields I've ever seen.
It's gonna be pretty bad.
So I don't know who they play in center. I imagine Verdugo.
It's Judge. I think Cashman's already come out and said it's gonna be Judge.
And Verdugo in left then, and Soto in right, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, that's how Judge got hurt last year. He was playing center in LA, and that's how he kicked the wall, the cement brick in center, going for a ball up against the wall. That's how he broke his toe.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, he's the best defender. So he probably,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad move. It's just interesting, but interesting move from the Red Sox and the Yankees. The Red Sox, I think, are kind of, falling short of people's expectations of what they would do this offseason. But another interesting move, probably my least favorite move this whole offseason, because I kind of like this team. Craig Kimbrell signs a 1-year deal with the Baltimore Orioles. I just have no faith in Craig Kimbrell anymore. Like, I know he had a good season, but in the postseason, he
gets shelled.
Terrible. And I talked to my brother about this, who's an Orioles fan, and he was kind of trying to defend him. Like, obviously, like during the regular season, this is just a Felix Bautista 1-year thing because he's going to be out with TJ this year. This is a 1-year thing to kind of fill that closer role. Because although Cano performed that closer role all right, he was way better in the setup role. He was comfortable in that. He was phenomenal at the best in the league probably. So keep him in that role. Kimbrel will be suitable for them. I just when it comes playoff time with a young team, I didn't see that as like.
But
I
and
don't
this
know.
could be a little more helpful for him too, because he'll be in like a set role all year, and he'll be pitching the 9th or the 8th every game. With the Phillies, like, credit to Rob. He handled his bullpen super effectively all year, especially in the playoffs. But it could be Craig Kimbrel had fluctuating roles. Like, he was never really in a set role all season, and in the playoffs, sometimes he was pitching the 7th, sometimes he pitched the 8th or 9th, sometimes he was in like the 4th or 5th, like coming in if the start didn't go long. So I think having a little more maybe consistency all year for him could potentially help him out come playoff time, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was kind of I don't know, something about that just didn't mesh. I I feel like the Orioles. I mean, just get a starting pitcher is what they need. Their bullpen wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
Like, I never hurts to get bullpen help, but anyway, on to the next move. On the other side, one of my favorite moves. Eduardo Rodriguez, the Arizona Diamondbacks, on a 4-year contract for about $20 million a year. I think that's a fair valuation. This guy had a great year, and the Diamondbacks are starting to pay out money now that they got a bunch of young guys, young core. Obviously in the World Series, like, I know it's gonna be tough to compete with like powerhouses like Dodgers and Braves, but we said that this past year, and they did what they did. So I love this. I love this. Not much else to say.
I know Miro Kelly has not pitched great against the Dodgers so far in his career. I think he only has one career win against the Dodgers, and it was in the playoffs. But that's kind of a nasty rotation. If the D-backs are in the playoffs again next year, Erod, Gallen, and then Kelly, and then you've got Brandon Pfaadt too. I mean, that's a great that's a really solid rotation that's going to win some ball games. So playoff time, that's not a 4 that I want to face. I'll tell you that right now. There are several 4s, but that's definitely a very consistent. Maybe talent wise not the best, but consistency wise, you know what you're going to get, and they're going to be really good.
I mean, and knock on wood, largely healthy. A lot of those guys haven't been out for large periods of time. We're going to come back to this, but there was a trade where Soto went to the Yankees. We're going to talk more about that at the end of this, so I'll skip that one for now. Heimer Candelario goes to the Cincinnati Reds in a 3-year, $45 million contract. Kind of a random one. Like,
this made no sense to me.
How so?
They have an influx of pitching of infielders. Both they have a logjam of infielders, like in the minors and in the majors right now. They're shuffling guys around, trying to find guys to play, and then they go sign an older, slightly above average third baseman. Like, that just made no sense to me.
I wouldn't be surprised if he plays first base now with Votto out.
But one of the guys played a lot of first base when Votto was still hurt. Before Votto came back, they had one of their rookies playing.
Steer?
Yeah, Steer played a lot of first. They had 2 guys play first, Steer and somebody else.
Well, Steer was third base as well, correct?
And he played some outfield too. Steer played a lot of different positions, but they shuffled guys around. I don't know. I don't understand this. This doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I would have used that money maybe for pitching or for a bullpen or something.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, they got Nick Martinez, so at least they did try. They go out.
I mean, they could have got Kimbrel maybe. I mean, I don't know. This just didn't make a lot of sense.
It is weird. If anything, I mean, it almost solidifies that Jonathan India's got to be moving. Like, I know they'd already mentioned it.
Traded. Yeah, I agree. I just don't know where. I don't know who's gonna be looking for that.
Yeah, he's a weird.
It's a tough trade.
Yeah, but the Reds went out and got him. So we'll see what they do there. The next trade, Tyler O'Neill got traded to the Boston Red Sox from the Cardinals in exchange for Nick Robertson and Victor Santos, 2 right-handed pitchers. Woo, Boston.
Yeah,
what a move.
I'm indifferent. I don't think this will do anything for them.
I like Tyler O'Neill.
Well, I like him too, but he's basically just replacing Verdugo. Like,
yeah,
maybe not quite as good of a hitter, a little bit better defender.
Yeah,
I would put them at the same level.
I completely agree.
Except I think some people did not like Verdugo and his attitude. Like, I don't know if he was the best clubhouse presence from what I've heard. And I think O'Neal is maybe slightly better. I don't know. Although him and his manager were going through it this year, so I don't know. We'll see.
He's going to absolutely destroy the weight room. There will be lots of weights lifted in that weight room.
Lots of weights will be lifted repeatedly.
And so we will be the first here to report it to you all. The Kansas City Royals will be winning the World Series next year. They have signed Will Smith. He's a three-time. And Seth Lugo.
So the Royals are trying to contend this year, is what we've decided.
Well, I'm saying that there's so many memes out because the Will Smith won three straight. So it's like, my gosh,
number 4.
The Royals are winning. This one, if Will Smith wins it with the Kansas City Royals this year, he absolutely the reason all 3 teams won. I will speak.
Especially since he got 3 innings in the World Series for the Rangers or something like that. He was bad this year.
He got $5 million. So he's not a. And Seth Lugo got 3 years, $45 million. He's not bad, but
that's just such an interesting deal for the Royals to make, especially a 3-year deal too. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see. It's just.
I think it's time we hop into the 2 big ones.
I think it's time.
So
I think it's time
let's get into the first blockbuster trade, one that a lot of people suspected. The New York Yankees went out and got Juan Soto from the San Diego Padres. A lot was shifted around here. It was Juan Soto along with Trent Grisham went to the Yankees from the Padres, which I actually low-key think Trent Grisham's kind of a steal in this trade. But
yeah, we'll see.
The Padres got Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Johnny Brito, Randy Vasquez, and catcher Kyle Higashioka. So Michael King and Higashioka are the big league guys, and the 3 other ones I believe are minor league, and 2 of them are right-handed pitchers, if I'm not mistaken. But you might want to check me on that, Drew. I don't know a lot about the prospect haul in this trade.
I don't either. Let's see.
I can look at the ESPN grade for this trade.
I think Drew Thorpe. Well, the Padres definitely. The Yankees overpaid heavily. They gave up a lot. I think Drew Thorpe was also a big name. He's not ranked overall, but I think a team rank. And I think this is for the Padres. He's 5th. A pitcher, right. Is he right-handed? Yeah, right-handed pitcher, 6'4". He's 22 years old right now. He's played. He was drafted in 2022. So he's had 1 professional season. But
what college he's from? I swear I recognize that name. Don't mean to hold you up and make you research, but for some reason I recognize that name.
I'll figure it out.
Well, I think you'll find this comical, Drew. I had a Yankees fan come up when they signed Soto and tell me that Soto's going to break Aaron Judge's American League record, home run record, because of short porch. I said, you are nuts. Everybody's freaking out because of the short porch in New York.
Yeah.
Just Juan Soto lefty power hitter. This is the thing. Go get out power hitter lefties, with him and Verdugo. I think he's always going to help because he's a good player, but I think he's kind of toxic. I'm not a fan of Juan Soto.
Yeah. Drew Thorpe played for Cal Poly.
San Luis Obispo, right?
Yeah, San Luis Obispo.
Yeah, I actually do. Okay. That's
okay.
Why I know him.
Yeah, so I guess he was one of their better pitching prospects. But honestly, this deal took forever to come together, and I was getting a little tired of it. I was like, the Yankees just need to bite the bullet and just give up one of their top prospects. But honestly, props to Brian Cashman here for getting this deal to what he wanted, because as good as Juan Soto is, before the Shohei Ohtani deal, I would have said there's a good chance that he re-signs with the Yankees or signs an extension. But now with the Ohtani deal, Soto, especially if he has a good year, is probably going to walk to free agency and see what he can get, kind of like what Judge did. He might come back to the Yankees, but he's going to go see how much money he can get because the Ohtani deal is just massive. And Soto is going to be the best player by far in the free agency this upcoming year. So, but like, so 1 year of Juan Soto, and you gave up like one of your maybe top prospects, like fringe top prospects, and then Michael King, who's like good, but is not going to project past like maybe a number 3 starter. Like, honestly, like Brian Cashman, he kind of did some good work here, getting this deal to where he wanted it. Like, I'm honestly kind of props to him. I know he kind of has caught a lot of hate the past couple of years for like some trades and some signings and stuff like that. But this, honestly, like, I don't hate this. Like, this is kind of a good deal. They retained Clark Schmidt, Jason Dominguez, like you kept Anthony Volpe and Oswaldo Perez. Like, they kept all like the big guys. Those were a lot of names that I was hearing thrown around in that deal, especially Clark Schmidt. And they were able to retain that. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are. So
I don't really have too much other. I just want to comment on I've heard a lot about extending Soto. Like, will he want to sign back with the Yankees? And the comparison to Ohtani. Like, I agree with you. Like, maybe the bar has been raised a little bit with the Ohtani like huge deal, but like, I don't think it's as much as people think for the fact that there's nobody that does what Ohtani does. Like, it's like the bar won't be raised. Like,
but
I don't
there's
think we're
nobody
gonna.
who does what Soto does. Like, Soto is unequivocally the best pure hitter right now in baseball. Like, when he's healthy and when he is hitting, he is the greatest hitter ever. Not greatest hitter ever,
Yeah,
but he's the
but
greatest hitter in the league. Like, he walks at an unprecedented rate. He doesn't strike out. He hits for power. He gets on base. Like, he hits for contact. Like, he is the greatest hitter in the league. Like, we won't see him sign for 500 million, but like seeing a 300-400 million dollar deal like is absolutely within his future, I think. If
no, I
he
agree.
decides to walk to free agency.
But that's half of Otani if he's signing for 304. I don't think he's going to get
Yeah,
within 200 million. Like, I
oh
know,
no,
I know
I agree. I didn't mean to say like because Ohtani signed for this much, like Soto's going to go out there and sign for like 500 million. I just meant that because Shohei's deal was so high, I think that Juan Soto's deal or what he eventually will end up getting will be higher than everyone thought it was going to be before Ohtani. Like, I think everyone was looking like, he turned down, what was it, the $450 million contract extension from
so stupid. That pissed me off so much.
the
I can't lie.
Nationals.
Yeah.
Did he declined it?
Yeah, he declined it. Yeah, when he was on the Nationals, it was like 435 million
Yeah,
extension
it
for
was stupid that
13
he
years.
declined it, or it was stupid that the Nationals did that.
Oh, he's stupid that he declined it. How, like,
Why? Look at where the Nationals are, man. They
no, I
suck.
understand, but I think they take a different approach. That was them coming off. That was the year after they won the World
Yeah.
Series. Like,
I guess I can agree with that, but I think he may get a contract offer that size. And I don't think people have like, even when the Nationals offered him that contract, people were like, whoa, but he could sign for that.
it just seemed greedy to me. Like, how do you not take that with a team that like you just won a World Series with that brought you up? Like,
What was he,
like I'm a
20 years
loyalty
old?
guy, bro. You're set for life. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
like that's a ridiculous amount. That would have. I mean, I don't. I can't, what was Aaron Judge's extension number? Like 400 something. I can't remember, but
Yeah.
it was like 460, I think. So it wouldn't have been the highest, but it would have been a top 5 extension of all time. But anyway, that's why. That's my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of Juan Soto. I think he's kind of comes across as greedy, and obviously I don't know if the problems in the San Diego clubhouse were him, but
Yeah.
uh, they had some. So, do we just jump right into the big one?
Before we jump in on the Otani stuff, I have a little bit of breaking news. 4 hours ago, it was reported that Ronnie Mauricio has torn his ACL and requires surgery. He was one of the Mets' top prospect. I believe he was their, yeah, he was their fourth ranked prospect, and actually graduated, played 20 or 30 games, I think. There at the end of the season. Some ups and downs, super violent, sweet lefty swing. When he pimps a ball, he lets you know. Big, he's a big fan of the tossing the bat, but yeah, so he'll miss.
The whole season,
Well,
pretty
since it's
much.
now, he'll miss the whole season and probably a little bit of 25, but not as much as Well, actually, he'll probably be back for 25. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That'll
because
be
it took
what?
Ohtani a full year, but still, that stinks. They really can't catch a break in the off season. So
Yeah, so I think it's time to talk about this dude named Shohei Ohtani.
it's time.
He signed a contract with. I'm kidding. It's Shohei Ohtani
Shohei Ohtani
signed the biggest sports contract,
ever.
and I gotta get the numbers on this because I know there's a soccer player that signed for in the 600s.
Was it Messi
But
or
I think it was. Let me look it up. I'm not gonna even try.
was
But
it? But was it American dollars or was that deal like euros or something like that? Because American
I
dollars
think
are worth more than euros.
I heard it converted to um, okay. It was Lionel Messi
Yeah.
in U.S. dollars. He signed for $674 million with FC Barcelona.
Oh yeah, that was like a
It,
1 or 2 year deal or something like that too.
it's 4 years. So I mean, he's making more than Otani per year. But for the guaranteed money, this is the biggest sports
Yeah.
contract in history. 700 million. Excuse me, 700 million. God, that's just crazy to say. Which averages to 70 million per year, but he is deferring $680 million of
Oh
his
my gosh. I
contract.
mean, this is crazy. We've talked about this. We kind of talked about the contract. I think I called you when the news broke, and I was like, "Wow!" And I was like, "Dude, I saw that's going to be deferred. I wonder how much is going to get deferred." And I think we had kind of come. I think we both separately on our own came to the conclusion, along with pretty much everyone else, that he was going to probably make like 45 to 50 million a year, like defer like half of the contract. We were wrong. We were oh so very wrong. Oh my gosh. Defers 97% of his contract.
He's making 2 million a year.
2 million a year. So before we kind of get into this, I've done a little bit of reading up on this, and I can't pretend to understand this, but I can read back to everyone kind of the numbers and stuff. So for the let's see, where is it? In terms of the competitive balance tax, the dollars for that, because this was really the one thing that like everyone was like interested about, like how, like, what's the AAV going to be, obviously, but then like what's going to be the CBT hit. So basically what they do is they take the 68 million, which is how much each year is being deferred. So for each year of the contract, there's being 68 million deferred. 10 for the 10 years, and then 4.43, which is like the like inflation number from October of 2023, which is like the most recent numbers that they have. So that's what the MLB is using. Or it's the yearly discount rate, which is the imputed loan interest rate. I don't know what that is. Don't know what that means. I don't do money. I'm not a business guy. Like, I pay my taxes and pay bills, and that's it. So what they do is they take like I don't even know how they do this, but they divide stuff by stuff and then do something else. And so what they get is the CBT value, which is basically 44 million a year, and then you have to add in the 2 million that he's actually being paid. So the CBT hit for each year is going to be $46 million, which is absurd that is what is happening with Shohei. That the Dodgers CBT hit is $46 million a year.
It's just crazy they have the money to pay that. Like, unreal.
They're under the tax threshold. And they are nowhere close to that first threshold where their pick goes back 10 spots if they hit it. Their first round draft pick next year. Like, they met with Yamamoto today. They're in on some of these big name free agents. They can still go out and get people, which they desperately need, because their lineup, while it's really good, has a lot of holes in it, along with their rotation and even their bullpen to some degree. This is by no means a complete team. And I think Fangraphs came out with their updated like win totals for 2024, and like the Dodgers were only projected to win. Oh, I say only like it's not a lot, but like
It's
87
87. Yeah.
because they have no rotation right now, and like they have Gavin Lux and Max Muncy penciled in as their starting full-time shortstop and third baseman, who, while they can hit sometimes, are bad defenders. And Gavin Lux is coming off a torn ACL. We've all seen what that can do to a freak athlete like Ronald Acuna. Now, Gavin Lux is by no means a freak athlete, so it'll be interesting to see how he moves over there at short and what his mobility looks like. That's also with them platooning Jason Hayward against basically only righties. They're going to have to find another guy out there to play right field when there's lefties on the mound. You've got James Outman, who's actually a very good outfielder and is definitely one of the up-and-comers in the league. Like, the left field is like Chris Taylor and like a couple, like, you know, so outside of the big three, there, you know, the Dodgers lineup isn't great. It's solid, but it's not great. So
Yeah, I give Will Smith some props. So
oh yeah,
I'd say
yeah, and Will Smith, yes, Will Smith is easily one of the top catchers in the league and has been one of the most consistent hitters and defenders in the past 3 years. You're right. I need to give him more props because he's elite. He's very good. But yeah,
do you
outside of
try
those guys,
do you try to put JD Martinez in the lineup now? Like, I mean, they still have JD
no, they're
who
not going to sign him. He's not coming back. There's no
okay,
way. Where would
that's
he
what I
play?
heard. I mean, obviously, you can't play DH because that's me Ohtani. So I don't know. I mean, in his earlier days, he was able to play outfield. I just don't think he physically could now. It'd be like a Schwarber kind of thing. It's bad.
And the Dodgers, they love defense, so I don't think that they would do that. You know, they love. Well, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see because they love Max Muncy too, and Max Muncy is not a good defender when he's not playing first base. So I don't know.
I mean, they announced that Mookie Betts will be their everyday second baseman, which is
Yep.
interesting. That's kind of frees up some outfield space, I guess, with Outman and
Well, that makes more sense though for them too, because like if you look at on paper, like who their second baseman, like it's like Rojas or Vargas, like two guys who had like OPS pluses of like below 75,
yeah.
like just bad. So, or like, is Kike Hernandez, is he still on the team or is he a free agent? I think he has like 1 or 2 more years left on his deal. So he can play some outfield too. I mean, if he can hit, we'll see, but
I mean, this could be something where they go get like a mid level, like Lourdes Gurriel is still out there. That would be somebody that would kind of mesh right in there. Like I don't even know. I want to go.
He plays left field too, so that's kind of like the spot that's up in the air for them, big time.
Looking at like second baseman, this is actually a great article that has everything. There's not. I mean, Adam Frazier maybe would be a good guy. Whit Merrifield, but like
Merrifield would honestly, he would be a good guy for them to go get because he can play. Although I did watch. This is actually the first time he's been a free agent in his career, which is really interesting. He got called up later in his career too, but he did say at the winter meetings in an interview on MLB TV that he wants to play second base. Like he understands that how he is like as a versatile defender, it could help him out, and it's good to be able to play multiple positions. But I think he's looking for somewhere where he can play full-time second base.
You know, honestly, I mean, I don't know if Tim Anderson can handle that in the LA environment, but I've been hearing lingerings of TA to LA.
But then they'd have to move Mookie out of the infield, right? I mean,
no, because that would. I just don't understand. Is Lux an everyday starter? Like
they want him. That's who they want. They're rolling with him right now.
I think you have to kick out Muncy. Like I understand he gets you some offensive production, but he's so bad in the field. So I guess we're looking more to.
Can Tim play third?
No, I guess you'd have to go target somebody like. I mean, they're not getting Chapman. I can't imagine. I don't know. I can't imagine you afford somebody like Matt Chapman if you get Yamamoto, especially too. Like then, so that would knock you down to more of like a Gio Urshela, Eduardo Escobar kind of. Like I don't know. They're interesting, but like somebody like Lourdes Gurriel Jr., I could see Michael Brantley maybe going because the older guys that are cheaper, like a Michael Brantley or Tommy Pham would make sense. So or AJ Pollock, maybe he returns. Like I don't know. So interesting. There's a lot of guys, honestly, for them to pick from. Some guys that they could probably get some budget stuff.
Yeah.
With Hunter Renfroe, Teoscar Hernandez. You never know. Anyway, interesting. So more into the Ohtani. the deferring is so interesting to me. Just talking to him from a personal standpoint, like if he moves out of California from those years, like the taxes obviously not as I
Yeah.
mean, they were like calculating like if he moves to like Texas where the taxes are very more the more
Less
friendly
strict.
to the person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the words, but he'd be making like oh my god, he's like making like he'd be making 40 million a year after playing. And the reason, I mean, you guys understand it's so funny that it's like he's making 45 million in endorsements every year. So he's
Yep.
still making 45 to 50 million every year. And then when he retires from baseball, he's still going to be a big name in baseball, but won't have the same endorsements, obviously, when he's playing. He's still going to be making 40 million a year for the next 20 years, which is absurd. It's just
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh, well, I think also too, a lot of people are operating that when this deal is done, he's going to retire. He may not retire after this deal is done. The Dodgers could be paying him while he's playing for another team. Like I
Yeah.
know he'll be 39, but like, you know, we all know
Yeah.
Shohei, if he's healthy and like physically can play, like he's probably going to try to play. So,
No, that's true. You're paying him 40 million while he's playing for another team.
yeah, I mean, it's just absurd. Like, I mean, you know, and I kind of like this is kind of something that I said after this, after all the deferrals came out, stuff like that, after the contract was released on Monday, like, or yeah, Monday evening. Like, there were really only two teams who could have afforded to do this: the Yankees and the Dodgers. Like, the two biggest brands in the MLB, like the two biggest teams, the most, you know, financially set, I guess you could say. Like, maybe Steve Cohen could have afforded it, maybe, but like that's just one guy. Like the Dodgers and Yankees, their organization is just rich. Like, I mean, they're following the rule and they're doing what they're supposed to, but I mean, this does kind of suck. Like, you know, like I don't understand like why he signed for 700 million. Like, why sign for 700 million if you're going to just defer it all? Like, why not just like sign for something in the middle, make like less money, but like I just don't understand the deferrals. I don't understand them from a Dodger standpoint either. Like I understand that like with inflation, the money is going to be worth less when you're actually paying him back in 10 years. But still, like I just it's it seems like somebody has thought too hard about this. They're like, what? How can we do this the most complicated way? You know, like if Ella is really like, unless it came down to like a bidding war and like Shohei was just like, all right, who's going to give me the most money?
I think, I mean, even I think I like the Dodgers were going to give the most money. Obviously, I
Oh
think
yeah.
even more than the Yankees. I don't even think like it's so funny. Like obviously, I kind of want to mention like the Blue Jays BS that was
That
coming
was
out the days
absurd. That was
before,
insane.
tracking flights and all that. I I apologize to Blue Jays fans because I was even myself got a little excited when I saw like the preliminary reports. Oh, he's in Toronto. Oh, it's looking like he's gonna be a Blue Jay.
He's
Like
on a plane.
awesome.
Everyone's tracking the plane all day, and then it turns out to be the Shark
Yeah.
Tank guy.
They likely weren't within 200 million of what he got. They
Yeah.
weren't even close. Like realistically, I'd love to hear what the offer was because I can't imagine they're like, oh, we have a real shot. We're not even remotely close to getting Shohei, which is like a disappointment, but in some ways kind of amusing. So
Yeah.
that was kind of funny.
Well, I mean,
Um,
another thing too that was kind of funny was everyone was freaking out when Dave Martin, right? That's their coach. Or no,
Dave Roberts.
Roberts. Yeah, Roberts. Sorry. I don't know why I blanked on that. At the winter meetings, he was like, "Yeah, we've been talking to Shohei. Like, you know, we're working really hard to get
Yeah.
him." Everyone was freaking out, and now he's a Dodger, so it didn't actually matter.
Trying to conceal everything about Shohei. They thought that would affect like his like anonymous and wants to be
Yeah.
secretive about everything, which that's a whole nother conversation about how like I've heard like people think Shohei is doing a disservice to the game by being so
No, he can do
secretive. And
whatever he wants.
I mean, I think there is an argument to like, would it make it more engaging if he made it more like a reality TV show where he's like tracking it, obviously, but
I saw
that's a
something.
different conversation.
I saw something on Twitter that was like Shohei should do his like team announcement like high school quarterbacks do that are like committing to where they go, where they have like the table of hats and then they like oh, and then they like put on like the
Yeah.
real team and I was like, oh my god. It's like, and then the fans of the like team that like he didn't choose are like, yeah, we'll see you next year, like blah blah blah. You know, like
instead of using the crappiest image of the Dodgers logo
Yeah,
I've ever
freaking
seen.
Google
Oh my
search,
God.
like non-HD, like homie could have had like this is so Shohei too. Like I feel like this is like, but like he could have had somebody like at least like send him like actually like their logo or something. Instead, they
Okay.
sent. Instead, he Googled Los Angeles Dodgers
Okay.
logo, screenshotted and put it on Instagram. Like, just absurd. It's awesome. Everything about
It was
this
a
was
freaking Google stock image. Like,
yeah, man.
it's so funny, but he did it. He did it the Shohei way,
He
and
did it the Shohei way.
it's just it is so. I mean, it was the most predictable route. Obviously, staying in LA kind of least changed his life. A competing team with a ton of money. So, like, I mean, I think anybody could have told you this is probably the most likely thing. Is it a disappointment? Yeah. I mean, like, I don't think. I don't know. When I came out, I was just kind of like, eh. Like, I don't think there was no amazement to it, like no surprise to it for me. It was more about the contract, like the 700 million. When we called each other talking about that, I was like, oh my goodness, like
Yeah.
that is absurd. But I would project them as more than an 87 win team, but I honestly don't know.
They're gonna make some moves, man. They're gonna have to sign some guys.
I felt kind of foolish, but do you think he was worth it? Like, do you think this is? I honestly question: was he worth 700 million?
Absolutely. Like the player, no. Like just solely as a player, but Shohei Ohtani, the name. I dropped my thing. I'll have to find it later. Sorry. They're like this was a business decision. Like the amount of money that they're gonna make off of jersey sales, tickets, advertisements, just like clicks online, like they're gonna make this money back tenfold. Like it's not even like Shohei and Dodger Blue Man, like we're never gonna hear the end of this until he dies, basically. And then we're gonna hear about it every like 3 months. Like, oh, I remember when Shohei blah 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 did such and such and the NLDS for the Dodgers. Like, oh, there was like honestly, realistically, I predict him pitching 3 full seasons, and then I think his elbow is gonna give out again. Just like if we look at kind of like timelines and like traditional like Tommy John kind of trends and stuff. Like usually the first surgery, we've talked about this before, I think.
Be careful what you say here. Don't
No, I
scare
know.
me.
But like what the first surgery, like usually that UCL lasts like what 6 to 8 years, and his lasted 4. Like, and
Yeah,
then the
it's
second one is even shorter. Like it lasts even shorter. Some obviously there's a lot of variation on this, but like
Mhm.
kind of statistically following loose trends, like the second one lasts even shorter. Like, and not to mention like there has been no like scientific proof to back this up, but like there's a chance that him hitting also like shortens the lifespan of his UCL and all that. Like, so I think he'll be a great hitter, but I don't know how much pitching the Dodgers are actually going to get. I don't think they'll get 10. I don't think they'll get 9 seasons of Shohei on the mound.
And from what I understand too, he didn't get another UCL. I
It
think
was
he
like
got
some other surgery. Yeah, you're right. It was a different type of surgery, but just I don't think it'll last.
yeah, no, I think 3 to 4 maybe a 3 to 4 full seasons. I could
Yeah.
definitely think. I think you're right. I think he's obviously definitely going to be. And I guess I meant more is he worth it as a player, but you're absolutely right. He generates so, especially like the Japanese viewership that he generates. Like I can't remember the numbers on it, but baseball doesn't exist in a video on it. That he generates an absurd amount of money. Well, the Dodgers honestly will be making their money back easily. Um, so he is worth it in that regard. It's just I think he's going to be. I mean, it's so interesting. We've never seen this before. I'm struggling to make comments because I'm thinking about like, oh, what is he going to be? I think he's going to be a top 5 hitter in the league this year, like, and then maybe have a couple more MVP level seasons, and then even out to like a guy that's mostly hitting and like a really good DH kind of thing.
Yeah.
Would be a kind of almost a perfect scenario. But um, yeah, I think that's really all I got. It's just kind of amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we have no way of knowing how this deal is going to age. I know a lot of people are. Well, this is maybe not a lot of people, but a lot of Braves people that I see on Twitter, that I just kind of see are like, oh, this is gonna backfire. The Dodgers are gonna regret this, like blah 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 blah. And like, I understand where they're coming from. I think it is gonna be really interesting to see what the Dodgers finances look like after this contract is up, because that's when they're paying the bulk of the money. So I'm interested to see what that does. This feels like a win at all costs right now situation for the Dodgers. Like, I guess because they have Shohei, or because they have Freddie and Mookie right now. But I'm interested to see in 10 years, like, what's gonna happen.
I think this is a pressure from the fan base and the place they play in. Like, I think this plays a huge part. Like the win now thing. Like, I think there absolutely is like a win now. Even this is 10-year deal. I mean, Freddie's older, Mookie. I mean, those are
He's
both older
aging.
than
We've
guys.
seen his speed and kind of that stuff has been less and less part of his game as the years have gone by for Mookie. So
I mean, this year will be really interesting, and it'll be hopefully the only year, at least in maybe the next 5 years, that we only see Shohei hitting. But this will be interesting to see if they can compete with just him hitting. And thinking about it, like another guy that like makes a huge impact is Dustin May being out for likely a big chunk of the year with that flexor.
yeah, I think from what I've heard, he'll be out all year.
Okay, I heard some reports that he'd be back like September, but
Okay.
again, that's
I
basically you
think
got to
those. I
assume.
think that's like hopeful. I think they're hopeful that he can return, but they're planning on him missing the whole season. Well, and
That's so
Gonsolin will be
disappointing.
out too, right? He has
Yeah.
TJ. He'll be out the whole year too. Yeah,
Yes.
that's killer.
So Urias is obviously out, maybe out of the whole MLB. He's not going to be playing this year. Um, so there'll be. I mean, Kershaw
If he
is
comes back.
he? Yeah, if he's. We've yet to hear about his signing, or him making a deal. I mean, who am I? I'm blanking. Bobby Miller, Sheehan, like those young guys. But like, who's going to be at the top of the rotation?
Yeah, it's really kind of a crapshoot, honestly. I'm not super. Miller and Sheehan are good. They're kind of inconsistent. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. They need, in all honesty, they really do need to sign Yamamoto. I don't want them to, but that's really who they need. Or because I think Snell, they're going to overpay for Snell. Whoever signs Snell is going to overpay because he's coming off a Cy Young. He's going to demand a lot of money. I've heard Montgomery is down to, excuse me, basically between the Rangers and Boston. I don't know how true that is, but
I
apparently
think
that's
he's
word
going
on the
back to the
street.
Rangers. I
I
can't
that
imagine.
fits him the most. Like, honestly, like the Rangers or the Braves, I feel like are two fits for him. And then let's see who else is a free agent right now. Who else are we waiting on pitching
I
wise?
have you talking about pitching wise. I have the whole list. I'll just name them
Yeah,
off.
read me.
Starting pitchers who haven't signed: Snell, Montgomery, Kershaw, Woodruff, Stroman, Martin Perez, Michael Waka, Lucas Giolito. It's a big one of the bigger names. Like and then some smaller names like Lorenzen, Clevenger, Carrasco, Manaya, Frankie Montas, which is a guy who hasn't played in a couple of years that was legitimately really good before um, he got injured. Yeah, the rest are kind of smaller names. So like the bigger names are Snell, Montgomery, Kershaw, Woodruff, Stroman.
Woodruff might not sign with the team this year.
Because of shoulder injury.
He's out all of 2024.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I think out of those five guys, I mean, honestly, Stroman, right, would be the biggest. I mean, the most.
But I haven't heard any news linking him to the Dodgers.
I haven't
I
heard
haven't heard
anything
anything
about
about
him.
him, period.
Giolito might actually, because the LA connection might be a.
And also, pitching lab, they could kind of maybe try to revitalize him. That would be a move
He's a
that would make
younger guy.
sense.
He's not even
He is.
30
He's
yet.
only
He's
29. Yeah.
29. Yeah. So
So
maybe him, maybe Clevenger. Like, I mean, that would kind of make
yeah.
sense. Kind of a California guy. I don't know, Manaya. Like, there's some arms they could go get, but I mean, didn't there's reports of Flaherty being traced to somebody. I cannot remember who it is. Let me look up Jack Flaherty. I think it was maybe like the Pirates or somebody random like that. But a Royals, excuse me. Yeah, the Royals have talked with Michael Walker and Jack Flaherty. Like, what is going on?
Dude,
So
apparently the
weird.
Royals vowed to spend this offseason. Apparently they're looking to get one more starting pitcher. That's what I saw,
I can't.
like, in regards with after the Seth Lugo signing. So
Honestly, I mean, I know they're one of the worst teams in baseball, but like that division's so bad, I wouldn't like it wouldn't blow me away if they won that division by making big moves. So that is it for my side, Drew. I do have a trivia question. I feel like a lot of
uh,
trivia questions have been aimed at your way lately, but this is fine. If you have anything left on Otani, definitely
no, I think I've said my piece.
okay. Alrighty. So I think we've kind of given you a couple answers, but the trivia question is who are the players that received the five biggest extensions or free agency contracts in baseball other than Shohei Ohtani? And the latest or the least recent one was done in 2019.
Anthony Rendon.
No, he's not on the list.
Wait, what is this again? Is this extensions and contracts, or is it just extensions?
This is extensions and free agency contracts. So like
Anthony Rendon isn't on it.
he might have gotten a free
Oh,
agency.
I think he's. Oh, so this isn't free agency.
This is including free agency, but it's including both free agency and extensions.
Okay, well, Steven Strasburg, I think, is on there.
He is not.
Oh, dang. Okay. I'll go Mike Trout, Aaron Judge.
Mike Trout is number one. Aaron Judge is number three. Like according to this.
Um, so there's five.
Yes, all these guys were very highly publicized due to the extent of their contracts.
Big contracts. I'm trying to think. Are any of them no longer playing?
No, all three of them are still playing, and all three of them are for big market teams.
Let me think about this for a second. It's in New York. Is Giancarlo Stanton on that list?
He is not. There is a guy in New York, other than Aaron Judge, that is on this list. Not maybe
Cole.
not
It's Garrett Cole.
Is not maybe not the Yankees, but
what? In New York?
Maybe on the other New York team.
What guy on the other New York team? None of them are making any
You
money.
should
It's
know
not.
this.
Is it Scherzer or Verlander? It's
no. You should know this one, Drew. I'll be honest with you.
There's no way it's Pete Alonso.
No, it's not.
Lindor?
Yes, it is Lindor.
Really?
He signs
What is it?
$341 million. Did you not remember this? I remember hearing about this. He signed this in 2022.
Yeah, I remember that, but I didn't think it was one of the top five biggest.
Yeah, 341 million. The other one, I'm just gonna give you the other two are both California teams.
Oh,
two separate teams.
Two California teams. Okay.
And this isn't per year. This is the guaranteed money.
The dollar number. Oh,
yeah.
Probably
should have clarified that earlier. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Two California teams. Who's on the Dodgers? Who's making?
There's a player on the Dodgers. I will give you that since you said it.
Is it Mookie Betts?
It is Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts is 365 million.
And then can I do Manny Machado?
Yes, Manny Machado is the other one with 350 million.
Dude, stupid Lindor messed me up, man. That's dumb. What? I did not know that. How did I forget that?
Yeah, the ones following that are Fernando Tatis, Bryce Harper, and Giancarlo Stanton were the three outside. And Garrett Cole and Corey Seager were right outside that too. So you guessed
where was the Rendon contract? I could have sworn. Oh, you know what his is? His is one of the highest AAV in MLB history in the MLB. That's where I got that number from. Because he's getting 40, almost 40 million, I think, a year.
35 million. He signed for 245 for 7 years. So he's on this list even. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Yeah, that's it. I'll let Drew do the thing to sign off, but I just wanted to say to all of our listeners, this will be our last episode before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everybody and their families, and safe holiday for everybody.
Yeah, we will see y'all in the new year. Me and Shane will get together and figure out when we'll do it after that. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening. We appreciate it. Follow the Instagram. Email us with any questions or comments or concerns. We will see y'all later.
Peace.
Well, we have just said goodbye. Me and Shane hopped off our Zoom meeting, and I was gonna go edit. I pick up my phone, and literally as soon as we hopped off, Jeff Passan, Jeffy Boy, the GOAT, tweets out a pretty big deal. And I think it constitutes us slapping this on the end of the episode. It's a big deal. The Giants have agreed to a deal with outfielder Jung Ho Lee, from the outfielder from South Korea, who's been pretty successful over there. I think has won their version of the MVP like once or twice. To a 6-year, $113 million deal with an opt-out after 4 seasons. So obviously the Dodgers have been trying to get that big name free agent the past couple of years, missing out on Ohtani, Judge, and a few other names. So this is kind of big for them. I mean, we'll see how successful he is. There really haven't been a lot of people come over from the Korean Baseball League. Be interesting to see, but people have been pretty high on him. He had some success in the World Baseball Classic. So we'll see. I mean, I don't really have too much to say on this. I feel like this is kind of a wait and see type thing, but I feel like we should throw this in there, especially since it'll be several weeks before we record again. But yeah, any thoughts?
Yeah, I pulled out some stats. He has hit his previous season. It was a shortened season. He only played 86 games in the KBO because of an ankle injury. He hit 318, but the season before that was the one I'm assuming where he won the MVP equivalent. He batted 349, 23 bombs, and 113 RBIs in the KBO. He's an extremely high contact guy. He has a 97% contact rate on fastballs and a 91% contact rate in general. He, according to this, is their kind of the scouting report. According to CBS Sports, they ranked him as the 15th best free agent available. He is regarded as a plus runner and defender and has amazing bat to ball skills. Not regarded as a big time slugger, but they are obviously very high on his contact and his overall kind of athleticism. So, I mean, just looking, he batted in his 7 years, 7 years in the KBO, he had a 340 average. Like, this guy is, I mean, it seems like he's an elite contact hitter, and almost had in his MVP season had a 996 OPS, so basically 1,000 OPS, which is kind of crazy. So This guy looks good.
Yeah, it's a big deal for a Giants fan who really have not had a big marquee name really since Buster Posey. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. Like you said, big contact guy, maybe not a big home run guy, but I mean, the 960, 996 OPS, maybe he can get some doubles here and there, some extra base hits. So we'll kind of see. We'll see how that. I feel like this is a wait and see type deal. I mean, a lot of the contact guys that come over usually do pretty well. So it's usually the pitching, and the kind of the bigger sluggers are the ones that kind of are a little more inconsistent and like coming over from Korea or Japan. So we'll see what happens. The Giants, they finally got their guy, maybe. So we'll see.
Yeah, he's only 25. He's a young guy. Going to be around for at least 4 years, obviously, unless traded. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if this really puts the Giants really in like anything.
I would not put them above the D-backs right now, but I mean, this is what they've been looking for. So we'll see.
I mean, they could make more moves too. I mean, they're not a small market, so there's a lot of guys out there that it could push them to like I mean, in my mind, a wild card team. I don't think they're better than the Dodgers or the D-backs, but no, I mean, a step. So anyway, wanted to shout out to Drew. He was first on this news. I would have heard of this later, so I got to give Drew the credit here to get you all the most accurate information. So
yeah, all right. Well, we will. I've already done the goodbye. I'm not going to edit this in front of our goodbye and all that. I'm just going to put this on the end. So thank you all, and we will see you all after Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Peace.